I've lost my my thread
Don't,
there, but
don't worry. Can you give some concrete examples
yeah.
of issues that occur?
Um, there's when you have, for example, a no cure, no pay method, which is also some sort of EPC. There have been cases from even companies I've worked with where the customer, once the guarantee is delivered, the savings are done, the customer just says, no, I don't want to pay. I have seen cases like this. No, because I have also turned off the light when I left the room. It's an emotional thing. I have worked with a large retailer, as maybe in the presentation. I've worked for Decathlon, for example, and there I had a director who said, "No, we won't do this kind of cooperations with an ESCO because, as I said, when I do, when I by my behavior, I save energy. I don't want to share this money with an external company." It's really emotional barriers,
Mhm.
I think.
But I think it's very important to identify these barriers
Yes.
because with the higher ambitions, we will also review at EU level the regulatory framework. So, as you know, the European Commission set the bar higher for 2030, so from minus 40% compared to 1990 to minus 55. There's still no formal decision. This is going to happen very soon. But this implies that, of course, we need to find ways also to change the mechanics to get there. And this means also changing the energy regulations and mobility regulations and so on, the ETS emission trading scheme, to give it an extra push. And I think new business models that address a number of split incentives, etc., will be crucial, really, to get there. So I would like to invite you and everybody to look carefully at how this legislative framework is going to develop, and also to participate in any survey or contribution you can make to give insights to the regulators, because that will be crucial. I agree. Yeah.
So legislation is obviously one driver that can move things forward. Um, Obviously, there's still some problems, but there's probably other ways that can be introduced to have that market move more smoothly. Like, for instance, SMEs cooperating together. Is that an avenue that could help to move things forward? I
I,
see
s-
Benjamin nodding.
I believe in this model. You see already now that, for example, certain retailers are grouped into procurement cooperations to get more profit out of the scales when they work together. Um, that's one way, because also these are networks where they trust each other, and if someone from this network would say, hey, you should check or work with this contractor, they trust each other. There's the trust issue is covered within these networks of the SMEs. As a stranger, it's difficult to sell something like this. But also, you could have the local energy communities. I believe in those to create more a culture of participation, but also to make the challenge we face, to make it more fun and attractive, and doing it together. And it's after hours that we solve problems, and making it more fun instead of making it a big risk and a
Yeah,
challenge.
but I agree. I mean, I think scale is important, not only to get better knowledge, because I can imagine a small company is not always aware of all the options and instruments that can help them. And by working together, you can also pool maybe talent and skills, but also have better access to the market. And by the way, I think it goes beyond SMEs working together. I firmly believe in a new type of governance, where, I mean, this transition will only happen if all stakeholders at all levels kind of think together, work together. Everybody has its own role. But you see, for instance, in Leuven, we know very well, I haven't heard the discussion before, but I think they have a nice governance model, bringing in expertise from private sector, university, city, and try to basically change things on the ground. But also for investors, I mean, there are many investors that are interested in sustainable investments, but
Absolutely.
they need the scale. They need aggregation of
Yes.
projects so that they can, put their money into project and to scale up things. And so that's another dimension I think we need to look into.
So basically clustering funding opportunities to have, let's say, larger investment sums to be
Yeah,
available to investors to drive that transformation.
exactly. The same applies to cities. They also need maybe to work together with other cities to develop district renovation projects together.
Mhm. Yes.
And by scaling, they get access to other types of financiers
Yeah.
and investors.
You mentioned a new type of governance model, right? Is that something you have something more concrete to share that you have in mind, or?
Well, no, I mean, it's just a trend that I see that increasingly people realize that this energy transition is actually a very systemic thing.
Absolutely.
There's no silver bullet. There's no one single entity that can solve the issues. Somehow the puzzle needs to be made by many actors. And so it makes a lot of sense to reflect together with all these actors about the policy options, about the way forward. And I see increasingly at all levels, also at European level, that you need to have this bottom-up approach.
Mhm. Yes.
That you need to, speak with people on the ground to understand what's the impact of some decisions, and how by cooperating you can achieve something.
Yeah. We've touched upon business models already a bit earlier. Are there specific new business models that come into mind, or that you have seen examples in the market that you find to be innovative with engineering companies, ESCOs, auditors, other actors? Are there any specific examples that you have seen?
Uh, Not something that comes into mind directly, but maybe to continue on what you said, the new model where the governments work together more closely with the field. You have this. It's very recently they've hired area managers or area directors in the Flemish Department of Environment, Omgeving from Zoal-Demir. I think it's really interesting what they're doing there in a different field. I think we need, or we could use that approach also as a model in our field for energy efficiency. The area manager, he catches everyone he needs, all the stakeholders. He goes and does the negotiations. He's the manager who takes the process by the hand. And I think we need instances like this from the government who take the customers by the hand collectively or SME by SME. I think that will be difficult, but who are closer by with more a relationship of trust with the SMEs and can guide them through the whole process, because it's not just asking quotes and buying the equipment and done. It's much more difficult. So I think we need a dedicated personal assistance, but multidisciplinary teams, because the challenge is too big for only one person for the whole challenge.